So I recently went on a trip to Bali and it was my first ever solo trip and it was a game changer. It was a trip of a lifetime. I highly recommend to anybody thinking about doing a solo trip. I met so many incredible people, and I guess in today's video I wanted to share with you some tips and kind of recommendations, I think, for things that you definitely should be doing before you go. So Bali's been on my list for a very long time, and with obviously everything that's gone on with myself, obviously going for a breakup, selling the house, I kind of thought if I don't do it now, I'm probably never gonna do it. So I just thought, screw it, let's just book a solo trip and go. Now, my reservations with booking a solo trip, the first thing I would say is obviously it's very daunting, especially as a female, traveling to a country that's brand new on your own. Everybody that I was talking to about it obviously were pushing me to go because they were like, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. But they were also like, but you really need to be safe. Now, there are so many options for solo travelers. I didn't feel totally comfortable going to the country and then not really knowing what to do with it. Some people are great at that. They're happy to just get to a country, all right, I don't know where I'm going to stay, I'm going to stay at this place. Whereas I'm a bit of an organizer and I like to know at least where my first destination is going to be. And I looked at solo travel companies and I came across Intro Travel. Basically, Intro Travel is a company that you can sign up for a trip, whatever trip that might be, because they offer loads on the website, and solo travelers mostly will likely sign up to that trip, and then they will all be kind of grouped together for like an itinerary of 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how long your trip is. For me, I wanted to go on a solo travelers trip with a bunch of other solo travelers who were also feeling the same kind of anxieties and worries as I was. I've booked a solo trip to Bali with a return thing for about 3 weeks. Just gonna see where the journey takes me. I'm hoping it's gonna be the trip of a lifetime. I really do. So I did the Bali experience tour and it was about 2.5 weeks long. The people that I was with were amazing and everybody was a solo traveller within that group. So I think there was about 9 or 10 of us, and then you've got your tour guides. Now, our tour guides were incredible. We had Katie and Travis. They were great, and the group that I was with were lovely. And I was worrying because I thought they're all gonna be like 21, 22, but it wasn't anything like that at all. They were within my age. I had some that were older, there was some in their 40s. So yeah, it was a really, really good mix. It was a really good laugh, and again, it kind of relieves some of those worries that you're gonna have to think about where to go next. Oh my god, who am I gonna meet? Who am I gonna go out for dinner with? If you're that kind of confident person that can just go to dinner on themselves, which is something I'm working on because that really stresses me out, then great. You don't probably need to sign up to a solo traveller thing. You're probably good to go into a hostel and just meet people. However, I was doing it on my own, and as a female, I just felt more comfortable signing up to a group. So the Bali Experience Tour, which is the one I did, but obviously they offer loads on the websites. It goes into detail about the places that you're going to visit, where you're going to start, where you're going to finish the tour, and how much that's going to cost. About 2 or 3 weeks before the trip begins, I think the tour guides get everybody's phone numbers. They create a WhatsApp group, and they create a Facebook little group. You can sign up to the Facebook page. People can put posts on there and say, hi, is anybody going on the Bali Experience Tour starting on the 20th of May, for example? I'm going to be going on it. I'm starting on this day. So that was incredible. Now, moving on to money when you're traveling in Bali, I personally just used my credit card because it doesn't charge me for abroad transactions. But a lot of the people within the group, when I look back on the WhatsApp to have a little look how everybody worked their money, a lot of people used Monzo. I don't have Monzo and I don't actually know what Monzo is, but I know a lot of my friends use it for business, for work, for just transferring money. But yeah, like I said, for myself, I used a credit card, and that absolutely worked fine for me. The only place it became an issue was when I went to Gili Tea. So within my travel itinerary, I did a bunch of places in Bali. I didn't just stay in one. So the longest we stayed in one place was like 3 nights, I think, and that was Gili. But Gili Tea was the only place I had an issue with my credit card, and I did get money out. Sometimes, especially on depending on what tour you've gone on, like we went to a local house, a local family, and it's good to give them some money to say thank you, or when you're going into some of the temples, it's good to donate money. And yeah, they prefer cash, so it's obviously always good to have a little bit of cash on you, but most of the time you can get around tapping your card, especially if you've got a credit card that doesn't charge you for abroad transactions. So the next thing you need when traveling to Bali is a visa. The visa I think worked out for about $35 for myself, but again, I looked back on the WhatsApp group with all of the people that were in my group, and it varied person to person because some of them were from Ireland and it charged a little bit more. So definitely definitely look into how much that is. So they actually have an app called iVisa. You can download that, you can upload a picture of your passport, the details of when you're arriving, and I think the only information they wanted from me was the name of the hotel that I was first going to. It was really quick. I think mine took about 2.5–3 hours to come back on the app, and again, the app was really worthwhile having because you can check the status of the application. So the next thing that Bali require for you to enter the country is a tourist visitation tax. Now, it's just a small amount of money. I think it's about €9 or 10 USD. I think it was about, yeah, £12 or something for me at the time, or maybe even a tenner. You can do this all online, you can find it very easily. For myself, all of this stuff was linked on the Intro Travel website and the email that gets sent out to us, because obviously they're keeping tabs on what it is you need to complete before you arrive in Bali. But yeah, a visitation tax is just an extra amount of money that you need to bear in mind, but like I said, it's not a huge amount. Now the next thing is insurance. Insurance, mostly again for myself, I absolutely have to get insurance when I go on any holiday. I mean, everybody should anyway, but I know some people probably don't. But I've got Crohn's disease, and again, going to Bali, where Bali belly is famous, it would have been a really stupid idea for me to have not got insurance. But yeah, I got insurance. I paid about 75 quid for my insurance, and again, just really pay attention. Again, teaching you to probably suck eggs, but just really pay attention to your itinerary and what your itinerary includes to see if your insurance is going to cover you for those activities. So if you're doing, I don't know, any quad biking, if you're planning on going on a moped, if you're going to do any surfing lessons, anything like that, just really pay attention to if that's going to cover you or not. But yeah, highly recommend getting insurance for any kind of travel trip anyway, to be honest. Now the next thing I'm going to move on to is phones, and I'm scratching my head because I just used my phone. I didn't buy another SIM card, but a lot of the people in the group did, and probably more so because some of them had come from Thailand, did like a 30-day tour in Thailand, were then going to Bali and was then going to Vietnam, so they were kind of more traveling, whereas mine was like a 3.5-week holiday. So I just use my phone. There is Wi-Fi in so many different places when you go into cafes and stuff that you can sign up for. Obviously, yes, when you're out in the jungle, when I went to Ubud, yes, you're gonna probably struggle for signal, but again, we stayed at really nice hotels, so there was Wi-Fi everywhere we went. We didn't have an issue with it anywhere. And a lot of people in the group, especially the tour guides, can like hotspot you. So if you do quickly need to get hold of someone urgently, and you don't have an idiot of a tour guide that's really tight with their data, then they can probably just hotspot you for 5–10 minutes to just let some stuff come in and update people where you are at. But yeah, you can get hold of an eSIM, but like I said, I didn't do that myself, but I know a lot of people in the group did, and that was probably more just because they were actually traveling around for a longer period of time. In terms of the food in Bali, don't stress so much about it being a bit like Thailand where you find people serving bugs on the street. It's not like that. There are so many beautiful restaurants in Bali and gorgeous hotels. Yes, you can do it cheap. Yes, don't probably eat something that's not being cooked in front of you if you are eating anything off the street, but a lot of the locals eat that kind of food, and it's great. The food was amazing over there. I did get ill over there, but not Crohn's. I think I just had a bit of a stomach bug, and a few of the others in the group did as well. Just probably lack of water, dehydrated, alcohol, a bit too much sun exposure, the typical things on holiday just to be wary of. So obviously the water in Bali is not something you want to be drinking at all. Only bottled, please, only bottled. I mean, that's kind of common sense in probably a lot of places that you can travel to. A lot of the places when you get like ice served in cocktails, I was asking questions like, oh my god, can we drink that? But the tour guides from Intro Travel said to us that they have basically filters and stuff for the ice cubes for the locations that we specifically were staying in, but whether that's across the board in Bali, I don't know. Another thing with the water in Bali is that people were buying hair filters. So basically it's something you pop on a shower and it filters the water that comes out from the shower onto your hair, because apparently the water's not very good for your hair. But I wasn't out there long enough to be purchasing stuff like that, nor did I have the allowance to be packing extra things. But I guess if you're going over there for a big chunk of time, it might be worth looking into, but I didn't use one and nobody in the group did. Another thing to bear in mind is what you're going to be traveling with, so whether that's a backpack or a suitcase. Again, this was a question that I asked in the group, what is everybody doing? But like I said, a lot of people were traveling for months before. Some people were just doing it as a holiday, so a lot of us had suitcases, to be honest. I took a suitcase. I had a bloody palaver with a suitcase because my suitcase broke when I got to the airport, literally in London. It broke, so I had to get it all taped.
The Bali bag has broken.
Then it was overweight. And she was like, your case is overweight. And I was like, I've just paid to get this all taped together because my case is broken. A really lovely lady let my weight allowance go by like, it was only 2 or 3 kilos over, which I kind of knew about. And then it got to Bali, and then I got to Gili and I'm like, wheeling it along. It was so hot and so heavy, and I was saying to Travis, the tour guide, Travis, I'm not joking you, like I feel like my case is gonna break. The wheel came off in Gili, so then we were all dragging it up. It was absolute nightmare. But yeah, just bear in mind what it is you're traveling with. Obviously a case is fine, but it's probably more advisable that you take a backpack if you have one. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is getting around Bali, which to be honest was my probably funnest bit, was getting on a moped. It is wild. Traffic in Bali is stupid.
Traffic is crazy.
Like there's not a lot of roads and just a hell of a lot of people. So in the congested areas like Seminyak and Canggu, you will find that you could sit in traffic for hours, especially if you are in a taxi. And when I say taxi, I mean a car. Now they do have taxis like mopeds, and they are companies called Gojek and Grab. Now I downloaded these apps before I left, and I highly recommend you do the same because you can basically link up your card, like your bank account. Now Intro Travel, if you do a trip with them, and probably any other tour group guides that you do, they'll probably not want you to go on a moped. However, I like to break the rules, so I did go on a moped. But yeah, I did get on the back of a moped to get myself home. A few of us did. Intro Travel wouldn't advise that. We didn't tell the tour guides that because they wouldn't have been impressed either. But yeah, you can do that. It's a really easy, quicker way to get around. So when I arrived at the airport, I got a cab. It was picked up and arranged by Intro Travel. But again, I'm pretty sure there's a Gojek and a Grab area, like office, when you come out of the airport. So you can just go into there and just say, like, I need to get a Grab to this location, and they'll be there very, very quickly. They're very easy to get, they're very easy to use and navigate. The only thing I would say is you are better setting up your card and linking it up rather than paying them cash, which you can do if you haven't set up your card before. Me and my friend both wanted to get on a moped to go to like a market that we wanted to go to. Got on another moped, and she and my friend got on a moped. We went to the same area. I went to offer the guy the same amount of money that she had paid for hers because it's automatically generated on the website, on the app, how much it should be. And he was basically telling me it wasn't enough, even though it was what you would pay. So it is cheaper to do it on the app and have your payment set up rather than offer cash. So that is something I would advise. As for the bigger car taxis, obviously when you do a tour with Intro Travel, you are going around on a minibus because there's a group of you, so you will find that sometimes you're traveling only what should really be a 20-minute journey, but sometimes you might be in the car for 2.5 hours, which is really annoying because I'm not big on cars. I get really car sick, but they make it fun. We had music on and everyone was chilling and being silly and having chats and stuff, and sometimes it's quite nice to just catch up on a bit of sleep because if you've had a heavy night before, which we had a few of them, then yeah, it's a bit of respite and chill time. So I finished with the group in Ubud. The taxis are so cheap out there. So the journey I did to get to Uluwatu to go and see my dad, I think it was about, I was probably in the car for about 2.5 hours. It should have taken about 45 minutes, obviously good traffic, and I think I paid about 17 quid. So it's really not a lot of money for the taxi, so don't stress out because the currency in Bali looks huge. Well, that is everything from today's video, guys. I hope it was helpful in some way. I'm happy to answer any questions in the comments. Please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, because in next week's video I'm going to be talking about Bali recommendations for beach clubs and restaurants and places that I think are definitely worth a visit. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video for now, and I will see you next week very, very soon. Bye.